wanted to talk a little more about the Team Yellow pager attack now that a little more info has come out about it. Typically, when any of this happens, you want to use ICD-203, which is what people in the intelligence community use to evaluate probability. Now, when you're looking at intel stuff, you always have to think horses, not zebras. I'm in New Mexico right now doing drone testing with the Aeromed Lab. If I heard a horse behind me, or if I heard hoofbeats behind me, I would think it was a horse, not a zebra. But I have been working 16-hour days doing that thing up there, so I really haven't been able to give this story my full attention. So when this whole thing first started, I doubt that the cause of this was explosives, at least not in the traditional way that we think of explosives. A lot of people said that Israel intercepted the pagers and put explosives in them, and that didn't smell right to me for a number of reasons I'm going to get into. In fact, I even said the pagers were the explosive. So you usually want to go with the most likely possibility when evaluating stuff. It looks like these pagers were basically licensed from a brand, a Taiwanese company called Gold Apollo. And then they were made under license by a Hungarian company called Back Consulting KFT. And apparently Israel discovered that Team Yellow wanted to order 5,000 pagers, so they set up a company to manufacture them. And then they did something to those pagers during the manufacturing process. I don't know what was done. There was certainly a software component to it. There was certainly a radio component to it. And there may have been an explosive component to it, but maybe not in the traditional way we think of explosives. So let's talk about the sheer size of the problem that you would encounter if you were trying to intercept and tamper with the pagers. Let's say you wanted to alter these pagers with 2 ounces or 56 grams of some kind of traditional nitrate-based explosive. Okay, well, first you need the explosive. Then you need the detonator, and you need some way to connect all that to the pager. Now, if you want to do this to 1 pager or 5 pagers, I could see Israel intercepting that and changing a couple of pagers. But let's do 5,000 pagers. All of those ounces add up. So now that's 625 pounds or 283 kilos. To put this into perspective, a typical brick of C4 is 1.25 pounds. So right there, that's like 500 bricks of C4. That's a hell of a lot of explosives to smuggle into a foreign country. So using ICD-203, what do you think the likelihood is that Israel smuggled 625 pounds of C4 or some sort of explosive into another country? Think about that, and you put that information on this chart. Now, you have to think about time. It's going to take time to alter all these pagers. So let's say it takes 5 minutes to open the pager, alter it, replace the packaging. Now, I don't know how long it would take to do that, but let's call it 5 minutes just so we have a starting point for perspective. So it would take 25,000 minutes or 416 hours to alter all 5,000 pagers. So if you're doing that 24 hours a day with no sleep altering pagers, that would take you 17.63 days. Now, naturally, this time can be reduced by adding more personnel like in an assembly line. But there is a non-trivial amount of time that you would need to alter 5,000 pagers that you intercepted. So on ICD-203, what is the likelihood that Israel would dedicate that amount of personnel into some kind of tampering effort? Put it on the chart. Now let's look at airplanes. These pagers were issued to Team Yellow as a communications device in the event that Team Yellow leaders needed to be contacted. All right, cool. So 5,000 some pagers, not a single one of these dudes ever got on an airplane. Not a single one. You know, airports have a lot of ways of detecting explosives, not just x-rays where the software is used to make the explosives show up a different color. They also have explosive detectors in airports. If you've ever been stopped with the TSA and your fingers were swiped with a sampling stick, they're looking for explosives. Now, you may say that certain countries are more lax when it comes to airport security. Maybe, but eventually you have to come back, right? So if you're going to Europe to visit a relative, that theory of bad airport security goes out the window on the return trip. So using ICD-203, what are the odds that of the thousands of Team Yellow members that got these pagers, none of them ever got on an airplane with their pager to go to Europe? So what does this all mean? Well, I still don't think Israel used an explosive in the traditional sense of what we consider explosives. Like I said, the pager was the weapon. The pager was the explosive. Now, does that mean that something was done to the battery or some sort of compound was added to the battery or to the circuit board? Maybe. I mean, I could see making a capacitor on the board store a very high charge, and that was the explosive designed to take that charge and then detonate all at the same time, and that could have been added during the manufacturing process, and it looks like just like any other capacitor on the board. The only problem with the theory of putting an actual nitrate-based explosive inside of the pager is that if the pagers were sent to Lebanon through air cargo, they would have been x-rayed, maybe put through an explosive detector. If they were sent by boat, that's probably out the window. So using a traditional nitrate-based explosive, that's not totally outside the window yet, but kind of my bet here is something on the board, or you have some kind of capacitor that is charged and designed to be faulty, or really designed to work perfectly on command when they get a certain radio message. So in conclusion, did Israel use an explosive? Well, they certainly used something that exploded, but was it an explosive in the traditional sense of what we know of as a traditional nitrate-based explosive? And to me, that evidence just isn't there. There's just too many ways a traditional nitrate-based explosive could be detected. But Israel certainly could have designed something on the pager, in the circuit board, or maybe even in the battery to have an explosive-like effect by using some other kind of material. And I think that is more likely than a traditional nitrate-based explosive. I have to get back to work. Thank you guys for watching.
Aw, man, I'm so bored! Christ on crutches with a permanent profile. That's because you have the wrong toys. You need a Ryan McBeth Inaction figure from the Knife Hand Company. That's right, Ryan McBeth Inaction figures go everywhere. Put them on your desk, your Crocs, your keychain. You can even ask Ryan advice.
Ryan, why does Daddy ignore me when I'm over his house for the weekend?
Because your new mommy is way hotter than your old mommy. Trading cards. You get a free trading card in every box. Now that's Ryan-rific. So come on down to the Knife Hand Company and get your Inaction figure today.
Alcoholism, cigarettes, and non-service connected hearing loss sold separately.